Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing like a bit of a rogue video, but a video that makes so much sense to me. So I saw Jack Edwards film this. He didn't create the tag, but he was the person I saw make the video on YouTube. And it is the Bake Off book tag, like the Great British Bake Off book tag. Nothing to do with the actual Great British Bake Off, like the prompts are, but I mean this wasn't created by like the actual Great British Bake Off people. It's just a tag using kind of phrases and stuff from Bake Off itself and making them book related. And I love the Great British Bake Off. I am obsessed with Bake Off. So I thought, what better video to do? I love Bake Off, I love books. I thought let's just do this tag. So the first prompt is amateur baker, and that means self-published book. We've got to go. I mean, right, does this count? I don't know, because technically this is no longer self-published. This is the self-published version though, but it has been picked up by a publisher. But when I read this, it was self-published, and it's Miss Magnolia Parks herself. I'm obsessed with the Magnolia Parks series. I love it so much, particularly the latest book that came out, Into the Dark. 5-star read, obsessed with it. But even the first one I really enjoyed. I think I gave this one 4 stars. It's a very toxic romance. It's basically Gossip Girl in London, but probably make it like even a bit more toxic. Very back and forth, so much miscommunication. One of the most frustrating books I've ever read, but I just found it very charming. There was just something that I absolutely loved about this book. Even when on paper it should be everything I hate, like it's got the cheating trope in it, as I said, miscommunication, very toxic. I should have hated this, but I didn't. There's just something about it that I absolutely was obsessed with and fell in love with. So yeah, Magnolia Parks. The next one is Soggy Bottom, which is a good start but a disappointing ending. Right, I'm just gonna sort my hair and then I'm gonna stop touching it, because I know in all my videos I constantly faff about with my hair because my hair does my head in. So I'm gonna stop touching it now. Right, Soggy Bottom. And for me that was The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. Beautiful. This is also a self-published edition. Gorgeous cover, gorgeous premise, great start. But I was so bored. I won't labour it too much because I did a whole reading vlog where I spoke about this and then I spoke about it in my wrap up, so I don't want to repeat myself for people that have seen those videos. But yeah, this started off great for me. I was so excited for it, and then it just went so downhill and I was so bored and very disappointed by the end of it. So unfortunately I think I gave it like 2.5 stars, which is a shame because it's so gorgeous. But yeah, just didn't end up loving this one. The next one is hashtag Bingate. It's like a big hoo-ha in the Bake Off world. And in book terms, this means a DNF. And a recent DNF that I had was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I don't have it to show you because I've already gotten rid of it. I hated it so much. It was so bad. It was boring. It was sexist. It was homophobic. Not for me. I can't remember. I think I read like 100-ish pages or something, and then DNF'd because it just was not getting any better. It was getting worse and worse as it went on, so I gave up with that one. The next one is Junior Bake Off, a children's book, and one of my favourite children's books is Tilly and the Book Wanderers. It's like a middle grade fantasy book where our main character Tilly learns that she can, basically characters come out of books to talk to her. There's characters in there like Anne of Green Gables, Alice in Wonderland. So if you really love stories and you love books about books, even though they're middle grade, I definitely recommend them. If you're just wanting something really cute and cozy and a bit whimsical, it's such a cute little series. I haven't read the whole series because personally I don't feel the need to myself. I think I've only read the first 2 of them. But yeah, it's just such cute books if that's what you're in the mood for. Obviously if you want like a high fantasy, don't read them. But if you're in the mood for like a cute middle grade, Tilly and the Book Wanderers is just such a cute little series. I love it. The next one is A Hollywood Handshake, which is a book that impressed you. For this one, I've chosen a book that impressed me that I was unsure about, and that is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I don't have much luck with paranormal romance. Other than this, I'm yet to read one that I liked, let alone loved, but I ended up giving this 5 stars. I adored this book so much. I was so impressed and surprised by it, because as I said, it's not my kind of genre. I was very nervous. I didn't think I was going to like it, and then I read this and just was absolutely obsessed. This has made me rethink my whole thoughts on the paranormal genre. I'm actually reading like another vampire book at the minute, which I'm quite liking. So this has like revolutionised the reading game for me. I love Ali Hazelwood anyway, but I was just so impressed / surprised by this one. Loved it so much. The next one is Signature Challenge, and this is a book that you would recommend to friends and family. I initially found this one a bit difficult because I read a lot of like Mariana Zapata romance books that I don't think I would recommend to friends and family. Not that they're bad, I would recommend them to other people who read my genres, but I don't have many friends and family that read the same kind of books as me. I do have a couple, like one of my uni friends, I know that she reads a lot of the same books as me, but I wouldn't need to recommend them to her because she reads them anyway. I thought of it as people that maybe don't read a lot of books but need some recommendations to get into it, but they're not necessarily looking for like smutty romance books. So there are a few that I picked out. The first one, for anyone that was kind of in the mood for a fantasy, I chose The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I think this is a good fantasy, particularly maybe for family don't necessarily want like a super high stakes fantasy. I would choose The Night Circus. This is such a gorgeous book for people that enjoy more lyrical writing, people that want a bit of a slower story and just want to get immersed into a world. This is a gorgeous book. I read it at the beginning of this year. It's not my usual taste, but I just adored it and I would absolutely recommend it. And then the next two are Taylor Jenkins Reid books for people that don't like fantasy and maybe want to get into a little bit of romance but don't want like a tropey romance book. The first one is Daisy Jones and the Six. I think this one would really appeal, and the next one to be fair, I might as well talk about them together. Malibu Rising. These two are kind of linked. They're not like a series but they're linked in Taylor Jenkins Reid's like fake 80s world she's made that's like set in our world but not real. I think these are really good recommendations. Particularly, I'm thinking of like my mum who grew up in the 80s. I think she would really enjoy these kinds of books. Again, there's like a little bit of romance in them, but it's not a tropey romance book because I don't think my friends and family would enjoy those. These are like intriguing, like great setting, good characterization, good writing. I think these are just good all-round books for, again, people that don't like tropey books. I'm a tropey book fiend. I'm obsessed with like trashy tropey books, but I think these are like genuinely, and The Night Circus, genuinely well written books. For people that are maybe a bit younger, maybe a bit closer to my age or younger than me, that want a bit more of a kind of popular tropey kind of book and want something for fantasy, I chose The Cruel Prince. I think this is good because it's got the political aspect which will keep people interested. It's got a romance, but it's not an overbearing romance. It's very much about the fantasy. They're quite short, they're very easy to read, very easy to get through, and I think these are just kind of good all-rounders. I wouldn't necessarily recommend these to my older family members because I don't think they would really click with them, but definitely for people like, again, more my age or younger, I would recommend the Cruel Prince trilogy by Holly Black, one of my favourite series ever. And again, I think it's a really good entryway into fantasy because it's got a bit of everything, but I don't think any of the elements are too overpowering. I think there's the perfect amount of like fantasy, politics and romance all weaved together without any of them kind of taking too much of a front seat, if that makes sense. The next one is Technical Challenge, and aptly that is a book that you read without knowing much beforehand. And oh, I can't reach it, but I'm gonna get up and get it because it's a gorgeous book. Star Daughter. I ended up not liking it, so it might not be the best example of reading a book without knowing much before going in. I ended up giving it 2 stars, but I went into this without knowing literally anything. I didn't even read the blurb. I just bought it because it's stunning. It's the Fairy Loot edition. And then, yeah, read it without knowing literally anything. I didn't end up enjoying it, but it wasn't the premise that was the problem. I didn't enjoy the writing and the characterization and stuff of this one. But the actual premise was great. I need to do more of reading books without knowing everything about them beforehand. I find I'm always just more intrigued to read them and get through them if I don't know anything about them, because I feel like with TikTok and stuff, it is nice to see quotes and people talk about scenes that make you want to read books, but sometimes it's like a spoiler without being a spoiler. Even if the quotes are out of context, I find I spend the whole time reading the book just like waiting for the quote or waiting for that scene. So it is really nice to go into books without knowing anything at all about them, so you can just kind of enjoy it and take it in as it is without waiting for things to happen, if that makes sense. But yeah, read it without knowing literally anything about it. The next one is Showstopper Challenge, and that is a favourite book of all time. Will I ever stop talking about this in like every video I ever make now. I read this years ago and I still think about it on the daily. I still talk about it at least weekly on this channel. I am obsessed with this book. It's my favourite romance book ever. I do have other favourite books as well, like 1984 by George Orwell, The Book Thief, things like that. I have many favourite books. This isn't like #1 on its own, but it's definitely tied at #1. And it's one that I think of all the time. And it's kind of the pedestal for me of romance books. Is it the best written? No, it isn't. Mariana Zapata's writing is definitely an acquired taste, but the story and the characters, I love this book so much, as we all know, because I talk about it literally non-stop all the time. The next one, The Finalists, and that is a favourite trilogy. I'm not going to get it down because it's like displayed on my shelf with loads of stuff, like props, items around it, so it'd be a nightmare to get down, but I don't think I need to show it anyway. It's The Hunger Games. I'm obsessed with The Hunger Games. I read it when it came out. I think I was like about 13 years old when The Hunger Games came out, and obsessed. Still to this day obsessed again. I think about it nearly every day. Still to this day. I watch the films like all the time. Just obsessed. I just think it stands up. It's one of those series that stands the test of time completely. It's still as good to me today as it was when I read it at 13. And yes, I have reread it several times. I can't even count how many times I've reread it and how many times I've watched the films at this point. I am planning on doing a video. It probably won't be quite yet because I need to plan it. I don't usually plan my videos, but this one is going to require planning. I want to do like a deep dive into The Hunger Games and speaking about like why it still stands up to this day and why it was such a revolutionary series, you know, talking about all the social commentary that it has and everything. I want to do a complete deep dive into it, which will just make my little heart so happy because again, I'm obsessed with it. But anyway, let's move on to the next one or else I'm just going to sit here and talk about The Hunger Games all day. So the last prompt is an extra slice, and that is favourite companion book. I will grab this one actually. And it is 4 from the Divergent series. So we're still here in our YA dystopia 2012 era. But I think this is great. I loved reading this. I'm usually not too bothered about companion books. Not when they're... I love interconnected standalones where they're all full length. But when it said companion book, I took that to mean like not actually part of the series, maybe like a novella or something. This is basically, because the Divergent series is obviously just from Triss's point of view. I'm pretty sure it is, isn't it? The whole thing. I think I haven't reread Divergent in a while. This is basically going back over key scenes, like kind of short stories-ish, just scenes that are important, but from 4's point of view. And I'm a sucker for Triss and 4. I love The Hunger Games for different reasons than I love Divergent. I do love the world of Divergent and the story, but I really like the romance. I'm not that bothered about the romance, controversially, in The Hunger Games, but I love the couple, Triss and 4, in this series. So it was so nice to go back and just see how he felt about her, and just again seeing things from his point of view after being in Triss's head. The best. I think this is such a good companion book. I absolutely think everyone should read it if you haven't. Even if you read Divergent years ago, I think this one is great. And this is the gorgeous anniversary edition cover. I have the series in these covers and they are beautiful. Obsessed. And that is the end of this video. I know it was quite a short one, just a cute little Bake Off tag. Again, I love Bake Off so much. And obviously I love books, so this was like the perfect sit down video for me, the perfect little tag to do. Thank you so much for watching. Obviously if you want to do this, feel free. Like Jackson in his video, I just tag everyone. I'm not going to tag specific people. If you want to do it and feel like you need to be tagged, you can say that you were tagged by me. Anyone, go ahead and make this. It was such a fun little video to do. Thank you so much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!